So if you were to get on Google and put in the search terms low context languages or high context languages, you would find all this information on bilingualism, biculturalism, cross cultural navigation. We in English have what's referred to as a low context language. So when we in English, using spoken English, um, as members of the United States go to places like Europe where there's a moderate amount of English that's spoken there. Those people who are listening to us think that we're very arrogant, and it's because we actually use low context language, whereas many of them use more of a high context language. What that means is I use words over and over and over again in order to communicate instead of using a word once and simply referring back to it or understanding that since I've set up that context in the beginning, that here on out, I don't ever have to reference back to it. Everything that I say is understood that it's connected to it. So, in English, for example, in timber, when you heard me voice that, you heard me say over and over again. So the doctor, of course, brought his stethoscope. He then used his stethoscope and he put it in his ears. He then took the other end of the stethoscope and he placed it on the tree. And with his stethoscope, he examined the tree and determined. So over and over again, the doctor, he, stethoscope, over and over and over again, where in ASL, that's not the case. So in ASL, it's a high context language. There actually is no sign for stethoscope because all of those things together, doctor, something that goes in the ear, that all comes together in a high context way to mean stethoscope. So, what that means overall is that in English, we don't rely on context a whole lot in our communication. We simply repeat ourselves over and over again, and we rely mostly on individual lexicons or individual words to get our meaning across. In ASL and many other cultures, the way that the language is formatted is that it's all of the little pieces that come together that form one great context to understand then what all of the little pieces mean.